Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Being happy, warm, comfortable. The idea for, well, first of all, the Township Winery is a wine producing and marketing business that is based in Philippines, which for anybody who doesn't know where that is, it's near the airport. It's next to Crossroads. It's next to Young. But the idea of this came from social visits and my personal curiosity and inquisitiveness when I visited a friend who built houses in the township, built the 2-bedroom and sometimes 3-bedroom houses that you see in rows, even from the end to a slightly different picture of that part of Cape Town than was there 10 years before. So. But in getting to know Kate and what she was doing, I realized that by visiting many of her customers and would-be customers that there is a lack of what I understood to be absolutely fundamental to a community anywhere else. I'm Australian, and in Australia, in Singapore, I live in Europe, in Johannesburg, and in, I would say, 40% of Cape Town. There is a comfort in the way you live, a satisfaction with your street and your neighbors, and a reasonable distance or handleable distance to the nearest primary school, and safe place for kids to play. And a couple of words that became fundamental to me. They're pride and dignity. The only pride that I found in the town, and by the way, I talked about 40% of Cape Town, 60% of the population of Cape Town live within 5 kilometers radius of Philippines. Most of the people in Cape Town live in that circle, and they live in an area where there is zero manufacturing, the making of nothing. No clothes are made, no tools are made, no important services are delivered. And getting back to the pride, there is pride there, but it's inside every home. It's the only place. And inside every home, every shack that you see from the N2, or if you visit them, the inside of the shack, or so the outside of the shack is rusty or dirty or painted funny color or whatever, but on the inside, it's a home. There's carpet on the floor. It's a wonderful place. And the warmth of the people inside the house is always surprising to me. But outside, the streets are dirty. There are Coca-Cola cans in the street. There's broken glass in the street. And the people don't feel a sense of ownership of public spaces. The home is inside, it's not outside. They don't share this with their neighbors. The neighbors are people that they have little link with except geography. So it's going on a bit long, but this is how it all started. And then comes the question of dignity. It's a very hard word to define, but you know how you can damage somebody else by poking fun at them, by not treating them seriously. These people have for generations lived like that. They've stood at the back in queues. I won't go into this in detail because you know all that. But I realized with this lack of industry within the townships, the fact that you have to get up early in the morning and go on a public transport, a taxi, to somewhere where you work, eventually get paid, and you bring back money, and then you have fun on the weekend. It's a completely different style of life to that is understood by people all over the world to be satisfactory. And I thought that it would be a good idea to begin some sort of business that brought income into the township. Because at the moment, the economy of the township, and there's a significant economy there, is fueled by paid wage packets on Friday. People bring money home, and if that has to last till the next Friday, and it has to buy the school uniforms and food and haircuts and everything. But there isn't an inflow. Well, perhaps at Mazolis, the tourists who come into Mazolis spend a bit of money. But that doesn't really help the community too much. And so I looked at the possibilities. I know lots of people who are in small-scale manufacturing industries, and they could be transported or recreated in the township. But you know, if somebody starts a business in the township employing a number of people, and they make paper clips, it's a job, and then that has to be sold outside the township. It doesn't actually bring anybody to the township. And I realized the only thing that would be likely, would be a guaranteed form of income for the township is to produce luxury products that people have to come into the township to buy. And when I looked at the range of the possibilities, I was well aware of the fact that my own industry, the wine industry, was perfectly suited to this, because you can make wine anywhere. You can make wine in a kitchen or in a bathroom or in a garage, particularly if you make red wine. All you need is a couple of containers to do the mashing in, and the juice goes into the barrel, and it's there until it's supposed to be processed into bottling. But the next part, I mean, that could be a nice industry for a family. But the only way to get the people, the citizens of the township, to be much more involved is to get them to grow vineyards. And there are lots of examples of this all over the world, because the wine industry is something like 10,000 years old. So it started off around people's houses. If you go in Burgundy, in France, the average size of ownership of vineyard land is less than 1 hectare. Hectare is 2.5 acres, so it's about 2 acres. But that means that there are people there with 20 hectares of vineyard, and there are people with 2 rows. And they make the wine under their house generally, or in their house. And I have a lot of experience of working with those people, so I realized it could be done in township. But there's another factor. The wine, I realized maybe there should be a part 2 to the story. But I realized that to enter the wine industry is extremely difficult. There's a gigantic hurdle of money. Vineyard land, established, and vineyard land with a reputation. If you take Stellenbosch, for instance, it can cost from 5 to 7 million rand per hectare, 2.5 acres. And that's not enough for a family to make a living just from that. The cost of the land is an enormous barrier, and has been a barrier since forever. And I realized that the land, I did some research, I realized that the land on the Cape Flats from Wynberg to Somerset West was once, 150 years ago, farmland from one end to the other. It was farmed by German settlers who immigrated here, or refugees from the great drought of Europe at that period. And they farmed everything from peach trees to chickens and to vineyards. There's a vineyard from the old Philippine, and it was all called Philippine. They named it Philippine because they were very religious Christians, and somebody decided that was a good name. So the whole thing was called Philippine at that time. And there is the residue of a vineyard with growing vines on the way to the M5, and it's between East Rondebosch and Rondebosch. It's alongside the road and in the median. And in spring and summer, from now on, you'll see bushes of green there. Those are vines. They're actually the rootstock of planted vines. And the bulldozers that made that road through that area ripped off whatever the grape variety was. It was the top part of the vine. Vine is a bit complex. We plant vines that are made from 2 vines. So anyway, then the one way I could get past the financial thing, it's not the cost of winemaking, it's the cost of the land. The land in the Cape Flats is cheap. Land around your house is free. You can plant grass, make a lawn, or you can grow some vines. And more recently, we've started working with market gardeners. There are quite a lot of organic market gardeners in Kailicha and all of the townships. And they don't get much support. To give it an example, there's a quick wind up. There used to be organic vegetables sold in Pick and in Woolworths. No, found that it's not profitable or not enough people are interested, so they delisted it all. So the organic farmers had to sell in their corner to neighbours. And all these market gardens in the township are organic because they don't have funds to buy pesticides and so on. But they're good farmers, they look after the vegetables, and now we're going to see them make wonderful vines, vineyards. And it's a coincidence that it happened to be today, but I spent the day in Mugaletu and Philippines planting vines, teaching people to plant vines, new growers, and teaching 1 or 2 vineyards that were planted last year about pruning techniques that they have to use. It will be 2 more years for those people and 3 more years for the new vineyards of today that they will have grapes for the first time. And by that time, we hope to have our winery up and running in the Philippine Village Centre in the middle of Philippines. Anyway, I'm sorry that's such a long story. I've cut right into everybody else's very important time. But thank you very much for listening.